The transitional justice process has been delayed despite the lapse of over a decade since the comprehensive peace accord was signed. A political consensus on the related bill is awaited as the Parliamentary Committee commits to holding regular discussions and as victims of conflict era and their families await for justice. Good evening, I'm Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister Danraj says the government will move forward with a new strategy after completion of its first year, calls on all concerned for vigilance against conspiracies to make Nepal a failed state. Minister for Law calls for political consensus to conclude bills related to transitional justice, concerned Parliamentary Committee to hold discussions regularly for the same. UN Security Council diplomats delay a vote on a resolution to increase humanitarian aid into Gaza. Another round of talks takes place in Egypt for a new truce. And Pokhara Thunders book a place in the qualifiers of Nepal Super League after playing 1-1 draw against Thangadi FC. Match between Chapa and Chitwan currently underway. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has said the government will move forward with a new strategy in the second year of its tenure. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the electricity substation located in Sunsari today, Premier Dahal also said rumours were being spread regarding the government's failure to achieve anything significant in the first year and called on all concerned for vigilance towards conspiracies against the state. Dahal inaugurated the 4,000 megawatt substation today. The Nepal Electricity Authority has said that the Inarua substation will play a vital role in Nepal's pursuit of becoming a significant player in the regional power market. Premier Dahal said the substation has become another hub for supplying electricity from the east-west and additional electricity to India, as well as securing power trade in the region. The NEA has informed that the Inarua substation will be connected to the Koshi corridor with 220 kilovolt transmission line, which have been linked to electricity produced from the hydropower projects constructed in the Arun and Tomo rivers and their rivulets. Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Danraj has urged all concerned to conclude the transitional justice process through political consensus. At the meeting of the Law, Justice and Human Rights Committee of the Parliament today, Minister Gurung urged political parties for consensus that is similar to the Comprehensive Peace Accord. The minister was of the opinion, although the responsibility for it was of the Law Committee, a joint decision by the top brass leaders was a prerequisite of the process. The subcommittee formed for it has not been able to reach a consensus on 4 main issues of the Transitional Justice Bill, although it has already submitted a report 2 months back on how the process should be concluded. The subcommittee has directed whips of all concerned parties to find consensus through top brass leaders. Minister Gurung highlighted on the failure for the same despite several rounds of discussions. Meanwhile, lawmakers have also opined political consensus is a must to conclude the transitional justice process. The committee has said it will continue to hold regular discussions to expedite the works, except for public holidays. Speaker of the House of Representatives Danraj has said the Parliament's share of work for the appointment of General Secretary was complete and expressed grievances over the delay on part of the office of the President. Speaking with Kantipur News, Speaker Giri said the Parliament had recommended for the candidate as per laws, but the office of the President had yet to respond. Giri clarified that the President had no choice but to proceed with the appointment, but added that he was not in the mindset to seek for any legal support. On Sunday this week, General Secretary of the Federal Parliament, Bharat Gautam, had submitted his resignation. Speaker Giri and National Assembly Chair Ganesh Timal Sinha had a day later made the recommendation to appoint Parliament Secretary Padma Pandya to the post. However, the office of the President has halted the appointment, saying procedural error and legal complications were present. The office of the President says the controversy regarding Pandya's citizenship should be put into consideration before endorsing his appointment. Meanwhile, the Speaker has already announced Pandya the acting General Secretary. In another context, Speaker Giri has also expressed frustration over the Parliamentary Committee's failure to conclude discussions on bills and added Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal had been concerned regarding the situation. The delay in concluding bills has also affected the regular session of the Federal Parliament. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what's your take on development projects not gaining momentum? Your options are A, lack of willingness, B, procedural hassles, and C, lack of budget. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. UN Security Council diplomats have delayed until today a vote on a resolution to increase humanitarian aid into Gaza, and another round of talks took place in Egypt to try to get warring Israel and Hamas to agree on a new truce so hostages can be released. The UN vote was delayed despite the US saying it can now support an amended proposal that would demand that Israel and Hamas allow the use of all available routes for humanitarian deliveries. Even as diplomatic efforts continued, fighting in the Gaza Strip intensified with Israeli bombardments in the north and the south of the 41-kilometer-long Palestinian territory and Hamas firing rockets on Israel's commercial capital, Tel Aviv. Israel's government under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says it wants to eradicate Hamas, the Islamist group that sent fighters over the border from Gaza into southern Israel on 7th of October, taking some 240 hostages and killing 1,200 people. With a high death toll of around 20,000 people reported by Gaza's health ministry during the Israeli military campaign of retaliation has drawn increasing international condemnation.
Has agreed to continue negotiations today to allow for additional time for diplomacy.
Pokhara Thunders have booked a place in the qualifiers of the Nepal Super League. Pokhara secured their spot in the qualifiers after playing a 1-1 draw against Dhangarhi FC at the capital's Dashup Stadium by remaining at the top of the league table. With the draw, Dhangarhi have also reached the playoffs. In today's match, Milan Rai opened the scoring for Dhangarhi in the 42nd minute with an assist from Olawale Afiz. Pokhara scored the equalizer in the 90th minute as Moses found the net after a free kick from Surajju Thakudi. Pokhara have now secured 15 points from 8 matches, while Dhangarhi have 13 points from also 8 matches. Today's second match between Chhapa FC and FC Chitwan is currently underway at Dashup Stadium in Tripureshwar. Now, before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. And that is all for the moment. We will now take you back to the live coverage of the ICT Awards.